Hey, this is week 2, and I'm sorry, I am a bit behind on everything, it seems like. You couldn't tell, I'm at my home instead of my office. Things have just been a bit crazy in my own life, so I'm catching up today. I wanted to walk through a couple of things. We have, of course, the syllabus, the video introduction. Hopefully you already watched that. The standards document here that helps out for some of your pedagogy assignments is we're going to just kind of dive into all the details of everything. If you haven't gotten familiar with it, today's the day. Okay, so we have all of this past week, week 1, pedagogy assignment, which has been completed by most of you, but make sure that you get these 3 quizzes completed at an 80% or higher to be able to access pedagogy assignment day 1. Okay, or should be week 1. Sorry. So week 2, we get into more details, all about everything. Pedagogy assignment 2. Okay, so that's kind of what we're focusing on this week. A lot of instructional videos that I do, and then a couple of quizzes, and that's kind of how I lay it out every single week. Next week, though, we have this research paper, okay, misconception research paper. There's a peer review that we'll do. Here's an example paper that you can take a look at. And I wanted to talk to you just about this week. Knowing that this is coming next week, I would like you to pick a topic, okay? And that topic should be something of a misconception, so a major issue. Okay, now let's talk just a little bit about what a misconception is. This isn't where kids are making a simple mistake that they can easily be adjusted on. It's something where they have logical reasoning. They've actually got thought that justifies their incorrectness. Okay, and so one of the things, as we talked a little bit about place value already, a once place. Okay, when you think about place value, and like we have the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, right? On the other side, it doesn't start at once. There's no once place. There kind of should be, right? That would make sense that there should be. And so that there would be a once place, and all of the ones on the other side of the decimal would kind of line up accordingly. That is the confusion that is a misconception. Okay, so that is at that level that they have good reasoning for. It's not that I haven't bothered to teach them something yet. It's that they have been taught and they applied some additional thought that was incorrect. And their incorrect thought is causing the problem. So that incorrect little additional thought, and now it's got a big conflict on it. And say, well, why wouldn't that work? It makes perfect sense. Why shouldn't there be a once place? Okay, so those kinds of things, that's a misconception. And make sure that we decide on something at that level. That, okay, I can see how that can make sense to somebody else. And that's why we're continuing to see the problem in math class. Okay, and so as you pick out a topic for this misconception research, it can be anything that has to do with numbers, operations, algebra. Okay, those are the 3 main things that we cover in here. So I just talked about the place value aspect, so sorry you can't do that one. That one's thrown out the window. Okay, this example paper was a really nice student did. I know it's not a perfect job, but it's a good example to help you out with it. This week, kind of an unwritten assignment is you need to email me your topic, so that way, 1, I can make sure that you've got a solid topic to build off of, okay? And 2, that you can get good research for your topic, okay? So focus on getting me that, as well as all of our usual minutia that's here in the class, okay? Keeping in mind, so that way when we get to next week, midway next week, okay, and my midway is Wednesday at the end of the night, okay? Because that's the midway for all of your discussions and your forums, okay? And if you notice, there isn't one right now for this week. I'm still putting that together, and like I said, this class is all still being built. I've taught it in the block, and so I've got lots of resources there, but having everything to make up for it not being face to face, it's not there yet, okay? So we may actually skip over a forum this week and have you do one next week, just kind of getting into the whole flow of it, okay? But this has to be done. You have to have a full rough draft ready to go Wednesday night, okay? So this peer review, what we're going to do is all of you guys will email me in your papers by next Wednesday night, okay? Thursday morning, I will email them out to people, okay? So you're going to get one of somebody who's getting your paper, and you're going to get somebody else's paper, okay? So you will get somebody else's paper, and you're going to peer review it. One, read through it, see what they're talking about, okay? Just have a nice read through. Then, two, go back and actually get into the rubric that shows up in the misconception research right here. Boom, okay? This is the rubric that I'm going to be grading it by. So, check it out. You got to have 5 or more cited sources for APA formatting, okay? And these are research-driven sources, and you can dive into that a little bit more. If you're worried about it, just go find 5 research articles from journals, okay? Never going to go wrong having a good research article from a journal, okay? If you have something else that's like, oh man, this really hits at what I'm talking about, but it's not, let's talk about that. You know, email me a little bit, because we don't get the peer-to-peer, face-to-face interaction, so let's actually do that through email, okay? It comes to my phone automatically all the time when you guys email me, and I try and respond to that as quickly as I can. Sometimes, because it's only on my phone, I don't respond right away, and it's like, I gotta sit at a computer for this one, okay? Make sure this is 1,000 plus words of student written. That means not quotations, not citations, okay? This is your actual words that you wrote about. Then your misconception, making sure it's fully clear what you're talking about. Then preventing or fixing it, because depending on what level you're at, maybe you are helping to teach this better in the first place. Sometimes you are fixing the problem that already exists. Okay, so you're going to do that grading and get it back to them, and you're going to email me. That way I'm in the loop and seeing, okay, that you gave some feedback, and full feedback, you know, asking questions, saying, whoa, what did you mean here? I think we missed something there. This is the grade that I think you'd probably get right now. Watch out. You know, I think you'd get a D- because, man, Mr. Kid's a big jerk, and so he'd probably dock you a lot on this section, okay? Be straight up with your peers, because if you can't help each other, what are you going to do after you leave this class? If you depend solely on me, you're going to have a big problem. Start turning to your peers and trusting them and being a trustworthy peer too. Do your part now to kind of be a little bit of a jerk on the grading setup, because you being a jerk is not going to hurt anything. Me having to be a jerk is going to hurt the grade. So don't do that to somebody else. Okay? All right. So, anyways, going on with the rest of class. So, week 4, same kind of setup. You know, we'll get forums in here. Some weeks are a lot heavier. Some of them we don't have a whole lot of videos, or they were kind of covered in weeks before. So, just kind of be ready for that. Additional readings, look out for that PDF symbol. It means it's something that I want you to be looking at. Okay, here's your rubric, a lesson plan. Whoa, week 7, we have a lesson plan, which means that we're going to also have a peer review of your lesson plan. Oh, look, there it is. Okay, and you also have a mini teach that has to be done. Okay, so this is, and I'm sorry to say, 4th of July week, and I'm just like, I wanted to give you as much time as possible, so that's why I'm kind of, and this is the 2-shot. So I gave you a little bit more time, and it's falling over a holiday. So I do kind of expect that we'll do stuff a little earlier maybe on this week. Okay, so as we look at this, you've got your mini teach assignment. You're going to do a lesson plan. I would base it on your misconception research paper that you just, wrote about a few weeks ago. Okay, take the time, look at the rubric. This is going into chalk and wire. Okay, if you remember, the puzzle piece means it's going into chalk and wire. Okay, now with that, there's the rubric. Take time, make sure it fulfills that rubric. And this is a sub-ready lesson plan. That means that it's something that you would actually hand to a sub or to your mentor teacher when you're student teaching when you're not feeling good enough to teach and you got to go home. Okay? Because some days you have enough time to hand it off before you run to the parking lot to barf your guts out. Okay? And that's the reality of teaching sometimes. So make a great lesson plan now. Okay? Things that you need to think about with a sub-ready lesson plan is don't tell them to ask a question. Write out the exact question that they need to ask. Put it in quotations. Okay? Say, this is what you need to say right now, and that's what they're going to be expecting to hear, and then these are some of the things that you can expect to hear back from students. Okay? Get into great detail, because moving right along for 8th week, 9th week, 10th week, okay? Wait a second, 10th week, we have lesson narrative, okay? So after you write this great lesson plan, and the mini teach is just 5 to 10 minutes of you actually teaching kind of that presentation, the I do or the lecture part of it, okay? And there's a rubric in there too. Then week 10, very last thing is this lesson narrative. This is now you telling the story of teaching the lesson, okay? And so if you do a really good lesson plan, the lesson narrative is a cakewalk, okay? The funny thing is, I say it needs to be at least 5 pages. Much more often when people actually do the work, they say, what's the maximum amount of pages it can be? Because this is not a hard thing to do if you're willing to do it, okay? Don't go over 25 pages. I'll tell you that right now. 25 pages is about where my interest will stop for the day, okay? And if you are doing a good job within lesson narrative, 25 pages won't be too far off, okay? If you get 5 or 6 pages, you probably are not going to get full points for it. Again, rubric in there, take a look at it. But those are kind of those big pieces of the class to keep in mind, because every week we've got quizzes and pedagogy assignments, okay, and forums, those kinds of things happening. But these are the big things that you'll need to be working on if you have any free time, okay? Some weeks you are definitely going to have more free time than others, okay? Also, just a quick reminder, if you're not going to be in for some reason, you're going camping or out of the country for a week or something, email me ahead of time. Let me know if you're going to be gone, because if you don't do something and you tell me afterwards, I don't care, because you didn't plan ahead, okay? And I really doubt anybody's going to be taken away on a magical vacation for more than a week and not be able to at least email me about it. Okay, rub it in my face that I have to sit at home and not enjoy the amazing vacation that you're about to go on. Come on, I want to at least hear about it and have a good time. Okay? Oh, hey, and look, there's that Prodigy stuff at the bottom. Maybe you should take a look at that.